Okay, welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to take you through some Sportscode and Hudl integration to show you wherever developers have got to and some of the great ways now you can start utilising your Sportscode video and data inside Hudl, so you can share it with your coaches and players. So the outline for today, I'm going to take you through to start with direct upload from the Sportscode timeline to Hudl. So you might have noticed since we released version 11, there's a Hudl icon in your timeline. I'll go through exactly what that does and how that works. And then once we've done that, I'll cover off how to view your Sportscode data on Hudl, what it actually looks like, how you can filter it, and then create playlists. And then finally, I'll finish off with the movie organizer and sort of uploads to Hudl. Again, if you may have noticed within Sportscode movie organizers and sorters, the Hudl icon appeared in the toolbar in version 11 as well. So that's what we'll cover off today. By all means, shout out if you've got any questions. I'll try and keep an eye on it and answer them as we go through. Okay, so get us started. What I'm going to talk through is direct uploads to Hudl. Now, I mentioned at the outset, what we've now got, you would have noticed in version 11, is this export to Hudl icon. I'll get rid of that movie organizer, we don't need that at the moment. And I'll get rid of my Chrome pages as well. Okay, you've got the export to Hudl icon has appeared now in the toolbar of your timeline. So in terms of the Hudl integration, if you click on that at the moment, what that does by default, until it's activated, gives you this message that you need a Hudl subscription in order to use this feature. Now, if the integration with Sportscode is only available for certain Hudl packages, so if you do have any questions about whether or not your package can be used with Sportscode data, or whether or not you can even use the export to Hudl icon, contact your sales and support team, and we'll have a look at what you've got and what's available to you. Okay, so that's the default message you'll see in your timeline. Now, if you do actually have a appropriate Hudl account, what our support team can do is turn the feature toggle on for you on each of the Macs that you run Sportscode on. And I'm just doing it on mine at the moment. Okay, so what will happen is when I click the export to Hudl icon, I don't get that message anymore. It actually starts the action for me. So the first thing I'm going to take you through is getting your timeline and video up onto Hudl. So that's what we've got now. I've got my timeline open, my movie open in Sportscode. In order to do this now, I can do it in one step. If I click on the export to Hudl button, and I won't use this timeline because that's going to take a long time. That's a whole game. I'm going to use this sample timeline. Okay, so here's the sample timeline I've got now that I'm going to run this export to Hudl now. So if I click the export to Hudl button, what I get now is Sportscode's going to export this video out for me and the timeline data for me, and it's going to save it out to a location. So I'm just going to leave this default name there, Hudl export sample database. I'm going to save this file out to the desktop for me, and I'm going to click export into this folder. So what that's going to do now is the video is going to be converted for me into a Hudl format, so that export's going to happen. Oops, I'll just get this activated now. Yeah, and also it's going to create this zip package, which is also going to contain my Sportscode data. So once that's happened, it's exported that movie out for me. It's compressed it up, and now it's launched my Hudl page for me automatically. So it's opened up Hudl. I didn't do that. It's gone to open up the Hudl for me automatically. Because I'm logged in, it's taken me straight to the video page. If I wasn't logged in, it'd take me to my login page. Then once I was logged in, it would take you straight to this upload page. Now I choose the team that I want to upload to. So I'm going to upload to this Rugby Demo Sales team because I'm in a few different teams here in Hudl. And then I'm going to select my file. Okay. So now I'm going to select my file stage. I come down and I find the file that was just made, and it was this one here, Hudl export sample database.zip. I choose that, say open, and now my video and XML files are being uploaded. All I can do is I can add that to a schedule event if I want. I can give it a name, so I'm going to call this my sample upload, and save and continue that name. And you see these video files uploading now. Because I chose a timeline, it was only 3 minutes long. That video exported out quite quickly, and it also is now going to upload reasonably quickly as well. So the amount of time it'll take to bring up this page to upload the video will depend upon the length of the video you've got in Sportscode. So if you've got an 2-hour game open in Sportscode and you want to use the direct upload to Hudl, it's going to take a little bit first to convert that video to the right format before it brings up this web page to show you that it's ready to go. Okay, so now that video's been uploaded to Hudl, I can click on View Video Status. It's actually just back on my video page now, so if I click on the View Video Status page, that'll take me back out, and you'll see this video is now uploading. It's in my library there, and it'll take a minute or so to process out and then become available on Hudl. Okay, so a couple of key things there. In terms of getting this export up onto Hudl, the export to Hudl icon, we've got to activate that on any Mac you want to use with Sportscode and Hudl integration. So every individual Mac that needs to be activated on. So your support team will be happy to help you out with that. That's pretty much all there is to it. Open up your timeline, click the export to Hudl button. It zips up the file, compresses them out for you, then opens up your web browser, gets you to upload the video, and you see this video is now uploaded. That's ready for me to watch. So I can click on play the video, and that video will load for us in a second. And then once it's loaded, you can see down the right-hand side, I've got all my label data and everything. So I'll take you through the data and everything that's available in Sportscode in a moment. Once I've got a more detailed file here, but you can see my video and my XML data, all my codes and labels have been uploaded to Hudl, and they're there for me to now view and filter and share, draw, comment, do all that sort of stuff. So we'll take you through that stuff shortly. Now, in terms of Sportscoding exporting from Sportscode to Hudl, this is just a single stacked movie. So if I had, say, a stacked video file open, so if I go, what have I got? There's a stacked movie file. So just opened up on my Mac desktop. I'll bring it back out. So here's a sample A stack. It's a 3-stack. So again, I've got the export to Hudl icon in here. If I click the export to Hudl icon here now, it says it doesn't support stacked video at this time. So what I need to do is just select the angle I want to export and then export that out. So if I want angle 2, I select angle 2 from my stack, then I can use the export to Hudl icon, and that's now going to export that angle 2 movie out for me and all the matching codes and label data for me to upload to Hudl as well. So now in terms of viewing your Sportscode data, what I've got in here now, there's a game with a bit more data in it, so I'll open up this game. So I've uploaded this movie and timeline previously, so I've got all my codes and label data up in Hudl. So while this page loads, just take a second to load up the video. What you'll see is down the right hand side, I've got my video filter again. Okay, so in terms of watching these back, I can actually click a row. So if I want to click, say, Waratah's line-out possessions, I can click that, and that'll actually just skip and start filtering those. Importantly, through here is I can also I've got the colours now in Sportscode. So my row colours in here, instance colours, are the same colours that I get in Sportscode. So I can actually filter my clips by either clicking on a row name, or I can use my filter up here on the right-hand side. So, for example, if I went, say, Sportscode codes here, I've got James Parsons. So that's going to skip to all James Parsons instances. It's telling me at the moment I've got 22 of those moments that match, and I can scroll down and say, let's see all his tackles made. So defence outcomes of tackles made. And what will happen now is that tells me I've got 9 matching moments through there. If I scroll, you'll see these are James Parsons' moments now. His tackles made, so it'll play each one of those. And at the moment, what I've got is auto skip on. So what you'll see is it gets to the end of the instance, and when it's finished the instance, it'll automatically skip to the next one. And I'll just let that flick through. There we go, it skips to the next one. But I can actually have, oops, I'll turn on that. Oops. Instead of auto skip, I can have normal, which means when it gets to the end, it'll actually just keep playing through or loop. So if I just put that on normal, what you'll see is it'll play on at the end of the instance. So which can be handy sometimes if you actually want to see what happened beyond the instance that you've actually coded. And what I've got is if it's playing on, if I want to get to the next instance, I can always just click the next button here, and that'll then jump me to the next instance. So you can have auto skip, normal, which is just play through and then skip as you use the controls in the timeline, or you can have loop, and it'll just keep looping over the instance time after time until you use the next button to skip to the next clip. So that's how to filter your moments in Sportscode, and you'll see now I've got the loop on, so that's just going to keep looping over that clip. So I've now filtered these clips, so I've got all my codes and labels in here. Now it's really important with the integration stuff that you use group names with your labels in Sportscode. So if I bring up my matrix again, oops, here's my matrix. you'll see I've got all my labels, but I've got groups associated with each of my labels. Okay, so what that means is when I've got my filter in here in Hudl, is all my labels now are grouped. So instead of having just a whole list of ungrouped sports code labels down the bottom, so a list of all these ungrouped sports code labels, what I've got is everything's been grouped, and I can much more easily find things that I'm actually looking for. So now that I've filtered them, what I can do is I can add those to my clips. So I've got the 9 clips that I filtered in here now, ready to create, either share or create a playlist or do something like that with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, for instance, select this first clip. And what I can do is now select the first clip. I can adjust the instance length if I want to make it a little bit shorter or longer. So I can drag the endpoint out if I like, make that a little bit longer. So now my endpoint's longer. And once I've done that, I can click on save. Okay, so I've saved that endpoint. The other thing I can do with this, if I choose the second clip, I can rename it. So I can say, of this one, movement off the ball, and rename that clip and save that. And then that renames the clip out here as well. Okay, and you'll notice now if I come through the other things I can do, for instance, if I come back into this first clip, while I'm watching that through, I can make a comment in there. So, oops, let's save that clip first, sorry, save the clip, so I've got the length right. So now I've got the clip. Oops. Save that out. I can make, so I've got my clip there, I can add a comment. So at this point here, I've let the video play through to the point I want it to make a comment in. I can say, what were you thinking? And at this point, I can also potentially, I can do some drawings in there as well. So this guy here, I want you to be there, whatever it might be. Say done. And that's now made that comment and the drawing in that part of the instance. So it's actually marked it within that part of the instance at that point. So I can go save clip. And now that's got the drawing you can see inside it. So at this point now, I've got the clips that I want there. I can remove the ones I don't want. So let's get a couple more of these out of here, so I don't want some of those extra clips in there. And at this point now I can either add those to a playlist or I can share those directly with the player. So let's take, these first 3 clips now that I've got, and I'm going to add those to a playlist. And I'm going to call this Defense Review. And add those 3 clips. Okay, now what I've done is I've saved those off to a playlist, and you see they've disappeared out of here now to my clips. And what happens if I come out back to my library now, I've now got these Defense Review clips out there. So I can go back through, I can play those back in Hudl, and you'll notice when I play them back, the first clip is where I had the drawing in it, so the clip's going to play through in a second. It now pauses because it's got a little marker here where I had the drawing. You can see my comments come up. If the player likes, he can then make a note in here, too many numbers or whatever it might be. So then you can reply within the comments and have a bit more of a conversation going along in there, and you can play the clip on. So that's how sort of you can use the Hudl data within Sportscode, very quickly filter it. I can add that to a playlist. Once it's in a playlist, I can share that with players. At the moment, the playlist can't be seen with anybody, so if I go, you click in there, I can say share with players, and in here I can share with any of the other groups I've already set up. So in the team management, you can set up groups within Hudl. If you're not sure on doing that, there's some great resources online, and also a webinar we ran last week that takes you through creating groups. But if I want to share that with the backs, I click on backs and then say done, and then that will share that playlist just with those players, with the comments and drawings and everything that I've done. I won't share it in this case. Oops, okay, so I'll delete that draft. Okay, so that's how to view your sports code data in Hudl, filter them to create a playlist, and then share them. So if I just came back into this task game where I was a moment ago, okay, I'll just load this page up again. So in addition to creating playlists, I could add multiple extra clips to keep adding to that playlist I've already created. I could add to different playlists, etc. Or you'll see back into this game, I've already got those 4 clips that I had before because I took those, a couple of them already. Once I've got them in this clip stage, I can even share them directly with the player at this point. So I can choose those 2 clips, and instead of sending them to a playlist that I might want to keep adding to, what I can do is actually just share them directly. So I can select those 2 clips, say share, and then directly get the share link up, and that's going to share those 2 clips in a playlist. They create a playlist for you and share that directly with whoever it is you choose at this point here. So again, choose who you want to share it with, and off you go. So I'll cancel that. I won't share it at this point. So that's the basic sort of Sportscode Hudl integration. Video goes up, XML data goes up. You can filter it, create clips and playlists, and very quickly share that data out. The other thing I wanted to take you through today was the movie organizer export. So this is the new one in Sportscode. So if I come back into Sportscode now, okay. So just to be clear, what happens at the moment, if I have my timeline and my movie data and I use the export from the timeline, I get my codes and label data, goes up to Hudl, okay? But if I'd already created a movie organizer in Sportscode and I actually wanted to share that with my team, let's open up this movie organizer file here. So the movie organizer and the sort of exports work in the same way. You've got the export to Hudl icon here in the movie organizer. Just to show this organizer I've got, I'm going to make the movie of that at the moment just to show you what's happening in there so you can see what I've done. So to start with, I've just thrown a picture in there, just a bit of a sort of a welcome. This is the game I'm talking about screen. Oops, I'll turn that audio down. Then I've got some clips in here, and if I turn some text on, you'll see I've got some instance notes. In addition to the code and label data, I've got instance notes in there. And the other thing I've put in there, if I'm just going to flick through to the last clip now, oops, too far, is I've thrown a drawing in there. So I did a split instance edit, so the movie's going to play for a moment. It'll pause, show the drawing, and then play on. So I've done this in Sportscode, this split instance edit, new drawing row workflow. So just to see it more moving in the movie organizer, I've had the clip that I've split and then put the drawing in between. So this movie organizer has a picture, it's got some instance notes, and it's got some drawings in Sportscode in it as well. So if I actually want to throw this up on Hudl, what I need to do is, if I want the instance notes included, I need to tick instance notes in the movie organizer. Okay. Once I've done that, I press the export to Hudl button. Okay, and that then loads up this window for me, and again, it's going to export out, create a zip file for me. I'm going to save that again just out to my desktop. So I'm going to export that into the folder. Now this is going to do the same process within Sportscode. Now it's going to compress this movie up and throw it into a package for me. When that's finished, it's going to open up my Hudl window automatically for me, and then ask me to upload this movie organizer file. Just the last couple of seconds while that finishes exporting out. Okay, opens up a page in Hudl for me. Takes me again straight to the upload page. I choose the team I want to upload it to. Now I'm going to select my files, and there's the organizer file I've just created. I'm going to say open, and that's going to start to upload now. Again, I can give it a title if I want. I'll call this another organizer sample. Oops. Okay, I can save that in. And then just go save and continue. Now, what that's done, that's now saved that. The video's been uploaded. If I click on View Video Status now, this is going to take me back to the video page. And one thing you'll notice is on Hudl, once that video first goes up, it just goes up and it looks like a game video at this point. But what that Hudl's working in the background, and that's going to flick over and become a playlist in a moment. And you'll see over here, I've got this movie organizer sample, which is the same file I've uploaded a few minutes earlier before I started the webinar today. So what it does is, instead of uploading it as a game with the XML, it actually uploads automatically as a playlist for me. So if I click on that playlist, what I can see is I've got the drawing first of all, and then you'll see as the clips play through, I can actually now see up the top of the screen now the code, the label data that was in there, plus the notes that appear in there. And I can turn that on and off with this little drop-down arrow to show or hide that data. And you'll notice now that this movie will play through. Oops. And if I skip through, so there's the clip, you'll see the instance note in this clip, and it'll go through. Once it finishes playing this clip, it'll jump on through to the next clip, and you'll see I've got the instance note in there again. So that video plays through. And then finally, I'll get to the last clip where I had the split instance edit with a drawing, and you'll see the movie will play through. And then what it'll do is it'll get to the point in Sportscode where I had the drawing, and it'll pause and play exactly as it is in Sportscode. So it's paused, shows me the drawing, and then plays on. So I get, with the Sportscode to Hudl through the movie organizer export, what I get is pictures, I get my codes and label data, I get my instance notes, and I can also get any drawings and stuff that I've already prepared in Sportscode. So any organizer presentations you've prepared in Sportscode now can go straight up to Hudl and be shared, so that you can have all the information that you've created in those presentations up there. Okay, one other thing I did want to quickly show you with that. So again, this works with, this is a single angle movie organizer, but if I had some stacked video here, so I'll just close that organizer down and open up a stacked timeline again. So here's my stacked timeline, and I'll choose an export, throw that clip in an organizer. Oops. So here's my organizer. If I click the export to Hudl now, what that does is that pops up with a message. Now it created the movie for me and it says the organizer doesn't support stacked video. So what I just need to do is choose an angle. So I close that, click OK to that message, choose the angle I want angle 2. Then I press the export to Hudl button again, and now that stacked vision is going to just be limited to the angle that I chose, and it's going to export that video up to Hudl for me. So you can actually use this function with stacked video in Sportscode as well. It's just a matter of using the angle, choosing the angle that you want to use. Okay, so that was pretty much all I wanted to cover today. I'm happy to hang around and take any questions now if you've got them, but by all means, if you want to catch up on this webinar or watch any of the other ones, you can check out our YouTube channel that's got all our webinars loaded onto it. So thanks for coming along, and I'll catch you next time.